hair is falling. You already know it. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. It does matter because I do care about the people that do care about me. I don't give a fuck if they don't give a fuck about me. So, but why am I doing this? Because number one, I feel with I'm going to be a voice in the non-monogamous world and destigmatize an aspect of STDs, genital herpes, and also normalizing sex and nudity. And there's been a lot of people within my realm that don't take the time to understand the direction that I'm going in and why I'm doing what I'm doing and what benefit I can cause. And so I felt drawn to think that I would be hypocritical if I didn't do the same within the spiritual realm of a direction that a lot of people find a lot of benefit for when it comes to religion and Christianity and God. And I've never really been drawn to them. My mom, my two sisters are really in the spiritual, like God, Him, church direction. And I've always loved going to church, right? Church is like going. We went to this church back home, Grace Church, and this Asian dude just fucking fucks up the game with the stories, and I appreciate it, and I enjoy it, and I'd be taking notes, just like I have in front of me, which we're going to talk about, and see if I can, number one, not be a hypocrite and be able to have the opportunity to maybe believe in Him, maybe take the time to understand why I don't believe in God, and really sit down with it. And it's not, and you could say it's a calling. It's not really a calling. It's just more of, I believe that this is the right way to go about it, because I would like a lot of other people to understand why I believe in what I believe in. And so two is also because I haven't been as close with my I'll say it straight up, my mom, and even two of my sisters, even sisters in general. And I have four half sisters. I only say that because they're from three different moms, just to give context. And I think maybe this would be a good direction to start if I can be able to connect with them more, maybe in the spiritual realm or with God, and maybe I can find that. So that's the two reasons, really. Honestly, that's the only two reasons. Is because I want to figure out if why this is the most read literature in the world. That's like probably number three, because there's so many stories and metaphors and things I can learn from it. So I'd say number one is to understand, yeah, what God is, and not be hypocritical, because I know a lot of people have been within my journey. And oh damn, people are locked in. That's number one. Two is because I'm not as close to my family, and a lot of my mom, a lot of my family believe in God, and it's the thing that I don't I don't do for myself. So that's number one. So that's two. I'm sorry. And then three is, yeah, the Bible is the most read literature in the world. And so if you think, hold up, what's up, Lincoln? What's going on? But if you think that you're going to be ignorant to the fact that you're not going to read the Bible, you're not going to read the fucking Bible, it's the most read literature in the world. So I'm going to read some of what I've learned at Jackson. What's good? So I'm gonna read some of these things that I wrote down in church, and I don't know if you guys want me to go over some of the things that I didn't like at first and things I did like, which I'm gonna do that right away, off rip. So he said, if you believe in Jesus, you won't perish. Anyone that praises Him won't perish. So it's like I questioned. I said, okay, am I gonna perish if I don't believe in Him? That was a this. I'm gonna give a little summary for y'all. So that was one. I was like, okay, and that's why I believe in Taoism as well. And Taoism is more of a direction for me because I have the opportunity to take different pieces to put into my tool belt instead of, and my beliefs and experiences shape the Tao. The Tao doesn't shape me and my beliefs and experiences. And I feel like that's what church does a lot, and religion has done a lot. Is like it's gone into a space of, all right, this, if you don't do this, if you do this, then you're wrong, and or you're going to hell or you're going to heaven. And the Tao, it doesn't do that. It it gives you the opportunity to really take the different things to implement into your life to say, okay, how can I be present with the most people here? How can I understand the interconnectedness of all things, and what works best for you to live the most fulfilling life, instead of, if you don't do this, you're wrong. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about how you can live the most present and fulfilled life. So That's one. If you believe in Jesus, you won't perish. It's like, am I gonna perish now if I don't believe in Jesus? All right. And it said he also, pastor said, why do we forgive people over and over? Because he forgives us. And it's like, so you're just gonna keep the thing is, if you keep forgiving someone over and over again and you don't have a standard for your own life and a certain direction in your own space, I'm gonna keep forgiving you, and you're gonna keep fucking up my garden. You're gonna keep fucking up my garden, and I'm supposed to keep forgiving you. And I'm gonna read off, and I think you're into something, seeing that both exist and both offer guidance, not to dictate. I think you're into something, seeing that both exist and both offer guidance, not to dictate. 100%. I thank you for your words, Jack, and I believe the same as well. Um, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to read off of these comments or not, or just follow through. But yeah, I try to look at both sides of every story because I think that's the most important. You look at both sides to every story, you can get a grounded understanding of what's right for you. And so that's what I've done is in my life is always try to be open minded to the fact that you never know what you can learn from, take away from, and also really embrace within, you know, you trying to open your portal to other ways of thinking. That's important. So thank you, Jack. And so that's that. That's those are two things that I think I wrote down that were like, what? And so, but yeah, why do we forgive other people over and over again? And he forgives us. So it's just like you're supposed to keep forgiving people over and over again, but it's okay because he's gonna forgive you. And it's like, bro, what is that about? Is like I don't really agree with that per se. So that's things I don't agree with. But the things that I did love that he said love is not a feeling, it's a promise. And I said, damn. And promises, I think if you promise some things, they can be broken. But it said it doesn't matter what you feel, but by faith you believe in you who you are. Yeah, if you believe in who you, and I'm reading my notes right now, if you believe in who you are, it doesn't matter the way you feel because love is not a feeling. I think it's a process rather than a promise. I think that's really an understanding of that. So that was something I enjoyed. And so he also mentioned it's not about good works, not about stop doing wrong things, not about religion. It's about the relationship you have with him. And I was like, that resonates with me so much because I believe in divine energy. I believe in there's there's this my level of spirituality really comes down to like me having something bigger than myself. My level of spirituality comes down to how do I measure my ethical and moral implications and standard? How do I measure that? And that's been off of love, energy, and truth. And do I have a mission, a purpose that also I'm in a direction to go after? So that's kind of my direction of what spirituality has meant to me, and I've just let I love energy and truth and be my guidance, as a lot of people have let what the God, Son, Holy Spirit, and the best things happens in three. So that's what I believe in. So he said, you're not fully engaged with God because you're looking at the external environment instead of looking in yourself and in Him. Mm. That's why I believe in. A lot of people get a lot of things from their external environment, and they don't take the time to understand that you have to fill the inside of your cup, clean the inside of that cup, and then be able to have that overflow into other people's cups too, and then have it expand. But a lot of people try to clean the outside of their cup, and the shit gets dirty and gross, and they don't understand how to go about that. And so that's what I've done with self love, and that's what I'm getting my self love marriage certificate, and what that means for me. So yeah, your external environment can dictate a lot of your internal if you don't have the right people, right energy, and yeah, the right direction around you. So that's the top two things. And that's the two things I disagree with, the two things I didn't agree with. And so I'm gonna go over what what was happening and what was going on. So pretty much at this church, it was like looked like more like a facility than a church. And walked in, and this guy opened the door for me, and it was he had a disability. I don't know what disability he had, and so that was cool. And I got there early, and I sat down at the couch. Well, no, let's rewind. Let's rewind. I'm sorry. My Uber driver, right? I got into the car, and I got into the car, and pretty much started talking. She said, "I love your outfit," and I had this. I actually had my cutoff shirt, this cutoff shirt, which is a vibe and a half. So it has one sleeve off, has the little fucking male crop top. So I got in the car. She's like, "I love your." Uber driver said, I love your clothes." And I was like, "Yeah, I went from Thailand." Da 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 da. And then she's like, "Oh, where are you going?" I told her. I said, "Hey, what if I told you I'm going to church right now and I don't believe in God?" She was like, "Sounds about right." She said, "Sounds about right. It's where I'm at right now. I believe. I've seen things. I've heard things, and I've really felt the power, and I've even heard His word, but I just don't believe in Him." And she said church. She pretty much said church wasn't the right thing for her, and I was like, "All right, bet." And I was like, I was just amazed because I don't usually find people. Usually, I get some pushback of like trying to make me believe in the word or Him, or trying to like point me in a direction of like why. And she actually agreed, which was fucking insane. And we connected, and I told her, why I went to Thailand learning Taoism, and it's not a way of life, it's a way of being, and told her that direction of me meditating and stretching for this amount of time, and I was like, all right, bet. So that happened, and next thing you know, she said she's been paying for this car, and she needs like a little bit of more money to pay it off when she gets back, when she drops it back to the airport. And I said, fuck it. Like everyone needs help sometimes. And people that she's at least doing the work to at least try to help herself. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to give you this $20. I said, yo, how many dollars you need? She was like, well, I'm like 112 right now. I need 119. And I said, fuck it. I'm going to give you this money. So send her the money through Cash App. And yeah, send her the money through Cash App. And I said, I appreciate you. I give her a hug before we went into church. It was a beautiful thing. And then I went into church and I sat down and I started talking to this other guy. And I told him the same thing. I said, I don't believe in God, but I'm here in church right now to not be a hypocrite, not be a hypocrite. That's number one. Two, to see if my relationship with my family could maybe benefit, maybe me believe in God in this process. And then also, understand the word, understand the Bible. Because the Bible is the most read literature in the world. So it'd be stupid to not try to get after it and learn it. So he opened up, fucking just spread deep, and he opened up and he said, yeah, my that two people passed during COVID, and life was hard, and it was his brother and I think his sisters ended up passing during COVID, 2 weeks back to back, and then he told me the story because he said this is how he found the church, and I almost started crying during that because I said, damn. He, he had just talked to his brother 2 hours beforehand, and then boom, he's looking at him on the ground having a heart attack. He drove down to see him, and there was like red tape everywhere, cops, and it's raw. And his sister ended up dying, and he ended up finding the church, and then now his kids go to church, and now he's there, and it just I'm about to post that through I'm about to post that actually through Facebook or a reel of that conversation um, on my Instagram and Facebook, so you'll see that. But pretty much as I'm talking to him, all I see is my Uber driver come into the door, and she's like, she, I was like, yo, you're in church. She's like, yeah. I mean, I was in the car, and we talked about. She said she was gonna try to go to church too, and I guess it's the right time. And I said, damn, that's powerful. That's fucking powerful. And so she came into church, and we ended up going to church together. And the thing is, it was 10:15, and it was still only like 5 people there, which I don't give a fuck. It's like if Jesus was real, that man was using a stone to stand on and praising, preaching to fucking 1,000 people. It didn't matter. That was another thing that the guy that I was talking to, he was like, yeah, this is a different environment, and he said, yeah, it's kind of small. He was kind of like insecure about the space. I was like, the space doesn't matter. Jesus was out here like just fucking going from town to town, city to city. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm learning this to preaching, and it didn't matter about the space of the church or the lights or the video or the it didn't matter about none of that shit. The man was just fucking powerful in his words and what he had to say and what he believed in. And so that's what I told him. I'm sitting here preaching. I'm preaching to the guy that goes to church been going to church for the past year and a half. I'm like, yo, the space don't matter. It's what you create in that space. It's what energy you put into that space. It's what you believe to be put in that space that makes the space fucking powerful. So it doesn't matter how big this church is or if it's whatever. It don't matter. I told him that. So after that conversation, it was great, and we went to church, and then now we're gonna dive into what happened. So guy got up there, not guy, the pastor, and he seems a little nervous, right? You can tell there's a little bit of anxiety there. You can tell. I don't know if this is a beginning process for him or this is a stepping stones. And this is not me applying judgment. This is just me speaking my truth. And so, yeah, he was just nervous. It seemed like, and not as confident in what he was doing. And it seemed like he was just had a lot on his mind. That's what it seemed like. And so he started off and said, "We're just gonna get it. We're gonna stand up and get into prayer and do the music, which I enjoy. Which there's only 5 people in this room, me and my Uber driver, the guy I was talking to, and then a couple of the camera people, and then his wife came in with his 2 kids. And so the first song talked about prison wall, prison wall, a prison wall, mountain you can't move, chain. Okay, yeah. So the first song talked about there was a prison wall that he would dismantle and a mountain that maybe you can't move but he can move, and the chains have dropped, and death has will overcome for him. And I think there's a belief that most people don't have within themselves to yeah, people don't have that belief within themselves to think that they can find the answer themselves. So them finding that in God to say like, oh, the prison wall is going to get knocked down by him, or the mountain that he can't move, or that you can't move, he can move for you. The chains, he's going to drop the chains for you. And so I think a lot of people find that within this religious space or this relationship with him, which I really respect and I appreciate. So, and I think a lot of people need to find more of that direction for themselves. And people don't have a purpose, right? They find it within most things outside of themselves instead of within themselves, which a lot of people need something or someone to follow to give them the answers that are right for them. And so, yeah. But it also went into another song saying you can be the king of guilty, loss, misfits, critics, but this is the heart, the king of hearts that he has. And after all I've done, I've been forgiven. My scars have had opportunity to enter your kingdom. And I don't think a lot of people have the opportunity to show their scars or let down their mask or put a vulnerable space in. And so they don't feel like they have all these things. They have guilt, they have loss, they feel like misfits, they've been critiqued. And guess what? They're like, God will save me. And it's so cool because you can, when that's the case, you just kind of put it all on him instead of all on yourself, which I don't really subscribe to, but because you have to take full responsibility for your life. But it's just a lot of times it can be so heavy that you don't have anywhere to put it or place it or go with it. And so, guess what? You got God, you got heaven, you can go to him. I can see that being the case. But I think you just need my thing is I think you need a process of self love practices that you do for yourself that puts you in a positive feedback loop to and then find the answers yourself. And because with loss, it's like, yo, like I've had 3 people in my life pass away. And so those 3 people that passed away, I've used that as a celebration, right? It's been a celebration for me. Yeah, it's been a celebration of death, of loss for me, of like, now I'm going to put that energy into everything I do. I'm going to remember you for it because I know you can't be here in this moment. And the way I've dealt with guilt is by truth, right? If you feel guilty about something, you just come to truth about it within yourself and the people around you. You make it work. And if you're a misfit, that means you think outside the box. If you got critics, hey, you got no haters if you ain't popping. So it's more of like the way you process. And there's probably scripture in the book that give you the opportunity to process it this way. Because critics for me, I'm like, please bring on the critics. Like, you're just throwing stones, so I can put fucking, you're building my mansion even more. Like, if y'all are critics and haters, it's like, you know me, I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that's just certain mental processes that I've done within myself that I can do to help me find the peace that it's right for me. So, but yeah. So to go forward, the pastor during that time was like, you could tell he was in pain and he was like crying, and he was kind of crying. He was like it wasn't dismantled or just out of his space, but you can tell he was probably either going through some things or this is very passionate for him. I didn't know yet until he got up and spoke more, and I just didn't connect with him. And look, I'll use this example. I use this example to say women or just people won't deny you, but they won't deny you, but they'll deny your approach, right? And so his approach and communication style and within who he was seemed distorted. It seemed yeah, like anxious. It seemed like he was like thinking about something, a lot going on with the way he was trying to preach and say the word. And so I tried to understand, put myself in his situation and say, hey, if that was me up there, how would I do? All right, cool. If that's the case, then let me just look at the message for what it is. And he said that his father was a pastor, and I kind of was like, okay, that makes sense. He's following his father's footsteps. I don't know if this is his father's church or not, but yeah. But going through, he was like, why did you guys come into church today? What do you need God to do in your life? And I was like, is God gonna do this shit, or am I gonna do this shit? And then you can say that comes from ego, or you can say you can have the fate and free will conversation if you want, and blue pill, red pill. But I know that my thoughts become my words, become my actions, become my life. God, like I instantly went to like, God ain't. What is He gonna do? And it's more of the universe. If that's more of a direction we can go into, we can say it in multiple different ways. We can say it in whatever religion you, Buddha, universe, God. Yeah, everyone has the same divine energy that they look up to. It's just maybe they have certain rules and different process to go about it, obviously. But overall, I'm like, I need to take responsibility for my life, and what do I need to do for my life, so I can make the most impact to give back to the whole world and pay it forward and change the world one person at a time. What do I need to do? Why did I come to church today? I mean, I told you all why I went to church, so that's that. And and I didn't. And did I write it down? I should have fucking wrote it down. Took a picture of it. Let me see if I can find it on my laptop real quick. I took a picture of, maybe it came up. Nope, it didn't share yet. It's all good. I don't know which chapter this was, but he said, I think it was part of John, but he said, you're the one, not the 99 others. He didn't say this word for word, but I'm just reading my notes. But he pretty much said that God will leave the 99 others for you, and you're the one. And guess what? Your family is the one. The not the universe. Your family is the one. The people around you are the one. Like, you're the one that He will leave if you have. He said you have all these regrets and disappointments, and He will leave the others because you are the one. And he said, you aren't happy, you don't have money, not situated in your life, just know you are the one. I think it was just more to say, like, you're the one to make the change. Like, you are. Like, you can't put the power or blame to anybody else other than yourself. That's the way I kind of took it. But I was like, damn, you can leave 99 other people? What is going to happen to other 99 people if He's just going to help me? I don't mean to come from a negative perspective, and maybe it's just because I don't resonate with, I don't, I I'm trying to take it for what it is. All right. That's why I took it. I was like, all right. There's not any other people are not gonna be feeling like the one. I'll tell you that they're just gonna reciprocate into more people not if they have more disappointments or regrets. But so John 4 verse 8, I think that's how you read it. It's like 4 semicolon 8. Um, he read from this. He said he sacrificed his sins. He said John would have finished the fight. This he talked about John's like first purview of who he was. He said John was the person to be a hothead and a screw up and finish fights and talk shit at the barbecue. And he starts spending time with Jesus. In his flesh, he accepts him as he was. And John used to be the Sons of Thunder instead, and he started calling himself the Jesus of love. And so I get that. I get that. I get if John verse what section 4 verse 8. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it. But if John was a screw up, a fuck up, and also a hothead, and then Jesus came in and was like, "Yo, I accept you for who you are." I think a lot of people need that, right? It's a hard space because it's just like, no, you need to switch your behavior because it's the way you learn is same condition, new behavior, right? That's the way you learn. And so, same condition, new behavior means that that's the way change will implement and work. And so, this being the case, it's just good to know that someone accepts you. And I thought for the longest I needed people to accept me when really I just needed to accept myself, right? I just needed to understand that people don't see the same vision as you. People don't see things and think the way that you do, and that's why it makes you an exception, right? To be one of an exception, you can't do the things and think the way that other people are thinking. And but some people need that acceptance just because you have a lot of regrets, you have a lot of past pain and traumas, and you have these coping mechanisms and shit that you just you can't. It's hard to deal with. So having Jesus to accept you or God to accept you is just probably a really really healthy thing for a lot of people that they need. So next, the pastor went in to say, repeat back, I am. And I said, I am. He said, the one. I said, the one. He said, Jesus loves. And so it's good. It's good to know that, someone of a higher power that you could potentially go into a space when you die loves you. And if you stick by him, guess what? He'll love you too. I get it. I get it. I get it. And it was just, I wasn't really feeling the reciprocation from the pastor in this moment, but I was just trying to get the message. I was trying to participate and just really try to be as open minded as possible. So he said, in all that pain, rejecting him, the creation was rejecting him. And all that pain, the creation was rejecting him. I don't know what I meant by that. John 15:13. John verse 15, verse 13. I don't know how to read this. 15, semicolon, 13. Please forgive them. They don't know. Oh, okay. I think he told a story about John. Oh, he told a story about Jesus being on the cross. And the last thing Jesus said was, please forgive them. They don't know. Or something like that. Or maybe I just put the they don't know in there because I was trying to take notes. And it's a beautiful thing. Like that's like the most self-sacrificial thing you could do is the creation. Oh yeah, that's it. The creation, which is us, is rejecting him fully, and he's still like, "Yo, God, forgive them. Yo, forgive them for what they've done. They don't know. They're blind." There's a story. There's a story that I want to tell y'all about this, which I learned in Thailand while I was doing Taoism. They said this very angry guy, right? Very angry guy comes up to this monk and he's like, "Yo, I've been mad for 20 years of my life. I don't know how to get this anger outside of me." And the monk said, "Okay." Slaps him in the face, slaps the shit out of him. Gotcha, bitch. He's got you. And the guy gets fucking furious. Furious. He's like, "Why would you do that? Why would you hit me? What's going on?" He said, "Hold on, hold on." He said, "Hold on. Now close your eyes. I know you're mad right now. Close your eyes. Now envision someone slapping you in your back with a stick. Someone slapping you back with a stick." He said, "How would you feel?" "The same way you just hit me. Like, what the fuck is going on? Why do you keep doing this?" He said, "All right. Now open your eyes and turn around. He said, no one's there. He said, but what if there was a blind man right there that was hitting you in your back? How would you feel? And he started viewing life that way. Like, everybody's blind. And the people that have done you wrong or taken your shit, stolen your shit, or done crazy dirty to you, shit don't matter. If they're blind, they don't know. So when he went about that, because when you think that someone's blind, you're gonna treat them with compassion and a certain level of understanding and and try to move in love. So whenever someone does me wrong, I'm like, they're blind. So that's pretty much what Jesus was saying on the cross. They're blind. Respect that. And 3 days later, Jesus was not there, and he rose. All right. I only have a few more notes left, and then I'm out. God, by the power of your Spirit, the people that need you hope. By faith, you will make this direction that is dark into light. There's a lot of belief that, yeah, he's gonna that people need hope. They need a direction. They need something to take them out of this darkness and to give them light and God's Spirit, because we all believe, and I believe we have Spirit, has the power to do that. If you just confess your sins, I guess, and pray a lot. I don't know. I'm learning. All right. It's next. I said I need you to call to him. I feel people need an answer or direction. I already said this. He said I need you to call to him, and maybe that's the same direction of first you need to get into a space of asking. So this pastor said, he said, I need you to call to him. And it really spoke to me because it said, all right, if you need to call to him, God, it's like, okay, if I don't believe in God, then what would I normally process this as? I process it as, one, you need to ask. A lot of people don't even have the fucking balls to ask to ask the question. That's one. Two, you need to ask intelligently, right? And if you ask intelligently, then you need to, three, ask with faith. If you bring all that together, if you ask intelligently with faith, then I guess your call will be answered. That's the way I look at it, because that's what I do. I ask questions. I believe in who I am and the direction I'm going and the questions that I ask. So, and then I can actually attract. I don't really believe in receiving. Attract the right people and energy in my life. Yeah. God, you've been patient, and I'll bring my heartfelt, hard thought. Oh yeah, there's a song that I wanted to go over, which I'm not gonna go over this time. It's all good. But to say what did I learn? Hmm, I think I had more critiques than what did I learn. I think I like the whole love is not a feeling, it's a promise. But honestly, the pastor I wasn't connecting with, regardless if there's that many people in the room, I'm gonna still get the most out of the situation of what I can learn and how it can impact the space. And so, what did I learn? Not all too much. And I'm going to go every Sunday. I'm going to do this every Sunday. And you can watch this back if you want. But I think it's it'll be good to go and do consistently and see what I can take away through these notes that I have. And yeah, I think the two things I did write down that I did enjoy, it's not about good works, it's not about stopping doing wrong things, it's not about religion, it's about your relationship with him. I think cultivating a relationship with a higher power is much needed. And yeah, there's a lot of things that I could switch into the things that I've already processed things into, but overall, I think I had less of a takeaway and more of like critiques, which I don't, or feedback more than anything. But I definitely would love to go to church more and see what this could be for me and how I can connect more with him, and so I can not be a hypocrite. One, two, see if I see I can really connect with my family, and three, get the opportunity to read the most read literature in the world. That's like the goal of all this. and maybe I can believe in him by the end of this. I don't know. So that's the vibes. Appreciate y'all. Much love to you, spreading, but love, energy, and truth is the answer. That's what guides me, and we're just changing the world person at a time. That's all we're doing, and know that there's no end. There's only new beginnings. We're just getting started. We're really just getting started with this journey, but never know what the next journey will be. So part one of Don't Believe in God, but I went to church. Done.